Today's Morning First Alert Weather Show is brought to you by Sam Bernstein Law.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. Meteorologist Stone Schaefer here live for our Thursday morning First Alert Weather live stream. I want to thank everyone for joining me. Sorry there, just having a few technical difficulties with the First Alert digital desk. Well, we're getting those sorted out just real quick here. But for today, we will be looking at our First Alert weather days that we have for both Friday and Saturday as our wind chills look to drop back into the 20s and 30s below zero. It's going to be a cold one. We also have some snow across the region right now. But let's look at some of the details for those First Alert weather days. Again, Arctic air is going to move into the region tonight as a cold front looks to sweep across the state. Once that does, our temperatures will drop and our winds look to continue to stay consistent as we get here over the next 24 hours with wind gusts over 25 to 30 miles per hour. This will be mostly for again Friday into Saturday morning. I think it's an ordeal throughout all of Friday. Yes, the coldest temperatures or coldest wind chills will be for Friday morning, but through the afternoon, wind chills will stay right around 10 to 20 degrees below zero. And then Friday night into Saturday, really in a similar range. It's going to be midday Saturday. We do see some recovery. So obviously, if schools are still in session, we'll see frigid bus stops. Got to be careful with that. Make sure you're bundled up, as frostbite can happen in 30 minutes with our feels like temperatures and wind chills dropping to 25 to 30 below zero. And the National Weather Service is also highlighting this. Now, they have changed it. If you were watching yesterday, they did have an extreme cold watch in place that has now been changed to a cold weather advisory for, again, Friday 1 a.m. until Saturday at 10 a.m. And again, it's for that possibility of 25 to 30 below zero wind chills for that time frame of Friday 1 a.m. till Saturday at 10 a.m. Let's go to right now, though. Just quickly looking at our sky tracker, there was a snow chance moving through southern Genesee and southern Shiawassee County. That was really mostly south of 69. Actually, I'll pull up our Flint Vehicle City Harley-Davidson camera. This was one that was showing some pretty consistent snowfall. But at this point, that has moved out. You're actually starting to see the sun trying to peek through the clouds. So that's definitely a trend that we're seeing for the rest of the region outside of those southern areas of Lapeer, Genesee, and Shiawassee County. Because I'll actually pull up another cam here. This is our Birch Run camera that shows you're actually seeing some blue skies there in Birch Run. So definitely a little bit better there, seeing some sun here in Saginaw, and that will continue to be a trend. Now, you will have a few more chances of snow today. Doesn't look to be the most consistent. It'll be late tonight. It may have some development as that cold front rolls through, but otherwise should be pretty quiet. We'll go back here to our hour by hour, where again, we are seeing that snow chance moving out, at least this morning. It's not an all-day relief, though. As we get to about 1 to 2 p.m., cloud cover will start to build itself right back in, and we'll start to see some more chances of snow out of the west. Like I mentioned before, it's not the most widespread, but it definitely is there to notice. If you live in 127 along that corridor, that's definitely an area you could see some snow today on and off, reaching as far east as that 75 corridor, but even towards Sanilac, Huron County. As that cold front moves in tonight, we start to see more consistent snow, but still not as widespread, and that's obviously where we're going to start to see our temperatures drop. And I will say Friday looks to be mostly on the drier side, but don't let that sun fool you. If you get any sun throughout the day on Friday, well, it's going to be cold. Again, wind chills down to 20 to 30 below zero. Maybe just some lake effect snow trying to develop up into northern mid-Michigan. That includes Ogama and Roscommon County. But because of that snow moving through, there was some traffic difficulties this morning, mostly to our south. We'll start off, though, up to the north, our northern counties. There's been these slowdowns on and off on 75 northbound, just around West Branch. If you've been in that area or traveled that area, let me know what you've been seeing. It's, again, been on and off. I'm assuming it's probably a few slick spots as temperatures have continued to stay again below freezing. So anything that melted yesterday as you threw on some treatment may actually refreeze. but I've seen road crews out treating it. So, but if you've been that way, let me know if you've come across any slowdowns. As we move to the Bay region, this area has actually been relatively good. 127 did have some slowdowns from Mount Pleasant to Clare. That was southbound at some right around 7 to 8 a.m., but quickly cleared out. And for the most part, we've been seeing green across mid-Michigan. The hot spots have really been where we've been seeing that snow, especially in southern Genesee County there on 75, just south of Grand Blanc, and then just really that whole area there in southern Genesee County as you get towards Fenton. That's another area. I'm trying to zoom in here. I don't know why it's not letting me zoom in. I'll try to get something here. I'm not quite sure why it's giving me some issues. There we go, starting to zoom in. So yeah, M23, around Lake Fenton, up towards Flint, that's been an area that's had slowdowns, mostly because of that falling snow. Big snowflakes was consistent for a good chunk of the morning. Don says, looks nice in Saginaw, blowing in Aranac. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I think the thing is, don't let the next couple of days fool you. It's going to be sunny at times. It's going to look nice outside, but it's going to be very cold. So wind chills will be a factor, and I do think blowing snow continues to be a concern across mid-Michigan as we do see wind gusts 25, 30, and now there's been some signal maybe getting up to 35 miles per hour. So blowing snow will continue to definitely be a concern. If you're in an area that's been battling that through the week, you most likely continue to battle it through the next couple of days. Hopefully, though, the temperatures start to get cold enough where maybe we start to get a shell on top of the ice or on top of the snow, and that will help sort of fight off any of that blowing snow that you might have. Now, temperatures right now from the lower teens to the lower 20s. A lot of our areas were in the 20s this morning, so we've started to cool off just a little bit as we get here into the 10 o'clock hour. And like I mentioned, the wind is noticeable. This is going to help drop our wind chills and our feels-like temperatures. Right now, sustained winds are sitting out of the west at 10 to 20 miles per hour. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing wind gusts a little bit higher than that. Let's see if I can pull up wind gusts here. Actually, it's right here. I don't even have to search for it. Here's your wind gusts for right now. And like I said, up to 35 miles per hour. Holton Lake at 34, Alma at 34. You have Caro at 29, probably going to read 30. So those are areas. Blowing snow, definitely a concern. If you do have travel plans and you've been in areas that have had that blowing snow, be a factor throughout the day. Just be prepared for that. Now, with those sustained winds increasing, our feels-like temperatures have started to drop. Actually, quite a bit even since a wake-up this morning. Single digits still down to the south. You see Lapeer at 8 degrees, Bad Axe at 5, but up to the north, 8 below zero in Holton Lake, 6 below zero in Clare, 4 below zero in Gladwin. So just a preview of that drop that is going to continue to happen as we get through the remainder of the day. Like I said, as winds continue to stay strong and temperatures really continue to drop as that cold Arctic air does filter itself in to mid-Michigan. Now quickly, I am going to look at our planner for this afternoon. This is your Saginaw planner. This will really be what we could see across much of mid-Michigan. As you can see, mostly cloudy skies. I'm not going to count out some snow, but the big trend is definitely that drop in temperatures down into the single digits by about 1 to 2 a.m. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's even earlier than that. So that's why we obviously have those first alert weather days, that drop in temperatures, those strong winds, wind chills being a factor here over the next couple of days. I am going to take a quick break right here. Once we come back from that break, we'll just continue to look at our wind chills, at our snow chances, at our first alert weather days, at wind, just everything here for the next couple of days. So don't go anywhere. Well, welcome back, everyone, for the second half of our First Alert morning live stream, weather live stream. I want to thank everyone for joining me here. Again, if you've just joining in or if you've been watching, you've probably been hearing about, we do have First Alert weather days issued for both Friday and Saturday, as our wind chills look to be very cold, as far as 10 to 20 below zero, and there will be a few times tomorrow morning that we'll see wind chills as low as 25 to possibly 30 below zero. So frostbite can occur in less than 30 minutes if we do get down to 30 below zero. So if you had to be outdoors, I know not everyone has the privilege of being able to stay indoors for tomorrow morning. Just find ways to stay warm and have that skin covered. You don't want to have any exposed skin on these cold wind chills. And it does mention it could be an all-day thing for Friday. I do think it's going to be an all-day cold for Friday. Wind chills, even in the afternoon, are still at 10 to 20 below zero. When we look at our future feels like map here, it shows that even by tonight, we start to get that cold air filtering in. This is 10 p.m. Wind chills at 5 to 15 below zero. And then by the time we wake up, 6, 7 a.m., our feels like temperatures at 15 to 25 below zero, continuing to drop as we get through much of the morning. Here at 10 a.m. at 20 to 30 degrees below zero. So a very cold Friday morning. Obviously, if you remember the start of the week, we had very cool air temp or feels like temperatures, so that continues here for Friday and Saturday. And like I mentioned before, it looks to be an all-day thing for Friday. You know, typically we get into the afternoon and our feels like temperatures and our air temperatures improve. That doesn't really look to be the case for our Friday. This is 2 p.m. Still seeing feels like temperatures at, we'll say 20 to 30 below zero. At 10 p.m., still 20 to 25 below zero. And then through Saturday morning, we still see areas, this is again at 6 a.m., at 20 to 30 below zero. So definitely on the colder side. We'll see if we can pull out a little bit longer here for our feels like temperatures. We'll get through the rest of Saturday just to show how long it could last. Now, I will say this is pulling a little bit colder. So obviously we use a few forecasting models to look at what we're going to have. This is one of the models that has been getting us more into that 30 below zero. So things are obviously going to change. Things will be a little bit different as we flow through the next couple of days. But this shows we do see improvement. It's still below zero. It's still going to be cold Saturday afternoon, but definitely better at 5 below zero, then 25 below zero, and even some areas getting above zero as we get through Saturday afternoon. So that really looks to be the trend. If you've been looking at a long-term forecast, by Sunday we're back into the teens for our air temperatures, and winds should be relatively calm. We'll actually look at our wind gust forecast right now, and it is going to show us through the rest of the day it is breezy, it is windy, blowing snow. It continues to be a concern. This is at 3 p.m. Wind gusts out of the west at 20 to 30 miles per hour. Then as we get through Thursday afternoon, calms down a little bit. But by the time we get into Friday morning, winds will start to pick right back up. This is at 7 a.m. Winds from the north-northwest at 15 to 30 miles per hour. So that is why we're seeing the wind chills we are. Obviously, our Arctic air is dropping our air temperatures. Our highs for Friday are going to be in the single digits. Let's actually pull that up real quick, just as an example, just to show why we're getting so cold. So highs tomorrow, single digits, 5, 6, 7, 8 degrees. Holton Lake highs reading at 1 below zero right now. So that is why we are going to see that impact as our wind does stay strong through a majority of our Friday. But as I mentioned before, you do see some recovery on Saturday, and I think that's because wind is going to start to calm down just a little bit. As we get through the rest of our forecasted gusts here, this is 3, 4, 5 a.m. on Saturday, wind is a lot calmer. Actually going to be waking up to calm wind on Saturday, so that helps improve our wind chill. Sure, air temperature is still going to be cold, but this is 8 a.m. wind out of the west at 5 to 15 miles per hour. A few areas out towards eastern Huron County, up to 20, Port Hope, one of those areas, but definitely putting us in a better spot. And then through Saturday afternoon, 5 to 15 miles per hour. So that's a good sign for anyone that's looking for some recovery with our temperatures. Now, I did want to pull back up our hour by hour once again just to look over the next couple of days, because We will see some light snow chances the day. Again, that's not the main hazard that we're seeing. It's definitely continuing to be that cold temperature for Friday and Saturday. So let's look at hour by hour. Through the rest of our afternoon, you will see some light snow chances. Even consistent snow at times is not the most widespread. You may get 30 minutes of snow, and then after that, you don't see any more snow the rest of the day with this lineup. And that lasts through a majority of our afternoon into our evening. By the time we get into Friday, that colder air moves in. We do start to see maybe some drier air move itself in. So just seeing cloud cover for our Friday, maybe with some sun in the morning. I do think if there's one area we'll just watch out for is that lake effect snow up to the north. A few models have been picking up on, then in northern Huron County. So let me point that out real quick. It does look like with our winds being out of the northwest, northern Ogama and Roscommon counties will have a chance for some lake effect snow on Friday, and then maybe even northern Huron County towards Port Hope. So if you live in those areas, just be prepared. You may get some accumulations tomorrow, because when we look at our graph, our snow predictor here, it does show those areas of northern Ogama County just west of, or just north of West Branch, and then up there in northern Huron County, seeing a little bit more snow. It's readings 2.5 inches in Port Hope. That would be mostly lake effect if you do get any development. And again, down to the south, most of that is from the snow we've seen so far and we'll continue to see as we get through the rest of today. So don't be surprised you live in Flint, you live in Owasso, down to Perry, Lapeer, Grand Blanc. If you live in those areas, 1 to 1.5 inches of snow looking to fall between now and 10 p.m. tomorrow. The rest of the region, it's 1/4 to 1/2 an inch. A few isolated areas are a little bit higher. So just enough to be an annoyance. I don't think it's anything too bad where we're not used to it at this point into the winter, where we've continued to see sort of these 1 to 3 inch snow chances almost every other week, and even sometimes a little bit higher than that. 7-day forecast, just as we get to the end of our stream here, continues to show 20s for today. Again, that light snow chance on and off through the rest of the day. As we get into Friday and Saturday, those first alert weather days, we will see some snow flurries. I'm not counting that out, but I think the biggest thing for Friday and Saturday is the temperatures, highs single digits, wind chills as low as 20 to 30 below zero. But as you can see, it doesn't last long. We get into Sunday, we're back into the teens. I think Sunday will be a day we have to just watch out for more snow chances, just because if you've been paying attention here over the last couple of days online, there is a system, a pretty big system, impacting sort of the central parts of the United States from Texas all the way out to the East Coast and the Atlantic, that is giving areas like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama chances of snow, freezing rain, and normal rain. We're lucky that it's just snow. But there's been a trend here over the last 24 hours where that system is tracking a little bit farther north. The farther north it gets, the more chances we have for snow. So that will be a day we just have to keep an eye out for. We are picking up more signals that there is going to be some snow Sunday. It will just be determined about how far north that system does move. Right now, we'll just keep it right around 40%. Should be a light snow, but I think cold is definitely the biggest story as we enter the weekend. Then as we exit the weekend, we're back into the teens and 20s for Tuesday, or for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then just maybe a few lake effect and isolated chances for snow on Monday and Tuesday. It looks like we should be on the drier side for Wednesday and possibly the end of next week. Tristan, yeah, it is going to get cold here for Friday and Saturday, so make sure you're bundling up. Hopefully you're having a wonderful day. But with that, I don't see any more questions over in our chat. I want to thank everyone for joining me here today. As always, you can check out our stream. It's going to be a little bit earlier, right around 12:45, just after our noon newscast. We'll have another First Alert Weather live stream. That will be First Alert meteorologist Diane Phillips, and then we'll have an evening stream as Chief Meteorologist Chris Easlick will be in, just keeping you up to date with our First Alert weather days that we have for Friday into Saturday. If you want to, you can also download, scan this QR code, download our First Alert Weather app if you haven't already. that will send you alerts. It obviously sent out that cold air or cold weather advisory that we do have across mid-Michigan. And if that gets changed at any point tonight, obviously that will be the first to get you that update out there. So I want to thank everyone for joining me. Make sure you're staying warm here over the next couple of days, staying dry if you do get some snow, and stay safe. That's really what we want for everyone as we get over the next couple of days.